I grew up in Puerto Rico. I'm the oldest of 5 brothers. My memories from my childhood are very, very good. I grew up in a loving home, wonderful parents. My grandmother at the time was also with us, and between my parents and my grandmother, they always made sure that we developed a good relationship with God, and we attended church every weekend. And my memories, like I said, are wonderful memories. Up until the age of 14, my relationship with God continued to grow, and it was very strong. When I reached high school, my focus shifted from that relationship to pursuing baseball. I saw baseball as an opportunity to pay for my college education and also to pursue a career in baseball. I saw baseball as an opportunity to pay for my college education and my, so to speak, ticket out of poverty. I grew up with a lot of love, but not a whole lot of financial means. In 1986, I was fortunate enough to earn a scholarship to go to Western Kentucky University to play baseball. At the time, the opportunity was wonderful academically and also to be able to pursue baseball, like I said. But it also gave me an opportunity to get into other things that were not really good for me. I began partying regularly, drinking a lot, and getting into things that if it wasn't for my praying parents and my grandmother and people that loved me praying for me, I am certain I would have derailed. In my last year in college, I met Tracy, my wife. At the time, we were both away from God. And I remember we started getting intimate, obviously being away from God. And about 8 months later, after we started dating, she became pregnant. 3 months after that, we were married. And 6 months after that, my first daughter was born. When my daughter was born, she was born with a strep infection in her lungs. That condition forced her to be in and out of the hospital for the next 2 years. During that time, we incurred a large amount of medical debt, about $60,000. I was also at the time traveling 9 months out of the year playing baseball. I was fortunate to go play baseball for the Houston Astros, and I was at the time in the minor leagues. And as everyone knows, you don't make any money in the minors. I was making about $1,100 a month, and I had to cover all my expenses with that. So even though my wife and I were working, our income was not sufficient to meet all of our obligations. About 2 years after my first daughter was born, my wife became pregnant again. At that time, we both talked to each other, and we didn't see a path forward. We were thinking, how do we make this work with all the stress? And we almost felt that it was going to be either having another child or our marriage. And at the time, like I say, we were totally blinded and away from God, and we chose to have an abortion. That decision became the biggest mistake of our lives, and we regret it dearly. For the next 20 years after that, we were like in the wilderness. We went in and out of counseling sessions. After each counseling session, we would come home, and for like a week or two, we would be fine. We'll be okay. We were never great, but we would be okay. And then we would go back to our normal pattern or behavior, which it was basically disconnected from each other. My wife and I completely disconnected emotionally, completely disconnected physically. And that lasted 20 years. During that time also, I became increasingly angry. My focus shifted completely from pursuing my wife to pursuing my career. I got into porn also. My wife became focused on shopping, spending large amounts of money. She also became very involved in ministry, so we were ministering to others, but we were not ministering to each other. So in 2010, my wife was browsing the net, and she came across a ministry called Save One, which was an abortion recovery ministry. Sheila Harper, who is the founder of Save One, was able graciously to walk my wife to the study of Save One. And over the next several weeks, my wife started transforming. She actually became a new creation. And it didn't take months. Honestly, it took weeks. Even though for 20 years, therapists, counselors could not figure out what was wrong with us, Save One and the study, and God through Save One obviously, was able to completely reveal, completely remove the bondage that my wife and me were under. We began healing. She began healing physically and emotionally. I told her one time that she was healing me, that God was healing me. And my affection towards my wife changed dramatically from that time forward. We both started pursuing each other. My family as well, my daughters, I have two daughters, and they were both deeply impacted by the 20 years of our marriage and the disconnection. Those 20 years deeply impacted our daughters. Since then, however, my family has healed. Our marriage is completely different. God has used that for our good. We're excited about what God is doing in our lives. I'm eternally grateful to Save One and Sheila for the opportunity she gave us to heal as a couple. And God did it all. God did it all. But I'm looking forward to the next 20, 40 years with my wife and what God's going to do through us and with us. My name is Efrain, and I'm a truth teller.